All right, friends, welcome to today's class. Today, if you have, we will be utilizing some blocks and a yoga strap or a band of some sort. If you don't have any of those, like I said in previous videos, books, pillows, any of those things will work. For the band, if you have like a robe, you can grab the waist part. Can't think of the name right now. Brain. Anyway, so today we're going to be doing a nice gentle flow. It's not gonna be anything too crazy. We're not, gonna get the blood pumping. We're gonna be sweating. We're just gonna get the blood pumping throughout our body. We're gonna get our muscles moving, and then we're gonna end it with a nice full body stretch, so that we can just really feel relaxed by the time we're done. So starting in mountain pose at the top of our mats, feet are hip distance apart, arms down by your side. Close your eyes for me. Make sure that you're lengthening those shoulders down and away from your ears. Pulling them back, not allowing yourself to hunch forward. Opening up that chest. Finding your balance. Just taking a moment here. Taking a nice inhale in and then releasing it nice and slow. We'll do that one more time. A nice deep inhale in and then releasing it. Blinking your eyes open. And we're going to start with some sun salutations. So breathing in and reaching up to the top of your mat. Exhale as you slowly dive forward. Only coming as far forward as what feels comfortable for you. And right at this moment is where you can start utilizing blocks. If you can't touch the ground, you can either put your hands on your shins, or you can use those blocks to help slowly bring you closer to the ground. Taking a deep inhale in, coming halfway up, nice flat back. And then exhale as you bring those hands down and step back into your plank. If you cannot do a full chaturanga, or if you're in too much pain today, feel free to drop down to your knees. Otherwise, we're going to come down onto our stomachs, either full chaturanga or knees to chest. Untucking those toes, pushing yourself up into a baby cobra. And then tucking those toes and coming back into your downward facing dog. We're going to take a couple breaths here. Go ahead and pedal those feet out. Get the backs of those legs really loosened up. Just allowing some movement to start. This is your very first down dog of the session. And I always love to compare my first one to my last one. Noticing how tight I am and how loose I am at the end. So go ahead and stop pedaling and just come to a still position, pushing your upper body back towards your legs, straightening those legs as much as you can. If you can't fully get them straight, having them bent is okay, but we are working towards straight. And then on your next inhale, you can hop or step to the front of your mat, coming back into a forward fold. Inhale, coming up, reaching all the way to the sky, hands to the top, and bringing them down to your heart center. We're going to do that a couple more times, nice and slowly, just getting our body warmed up and moving. Inhale as you bring those arms up. Exhale as you slowly come down into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping back into that plank position, and then coming down to your chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Coming down nice and slow as you exhale. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. And again, taking that moment here, pedaling those feet out, getting the backs of those legs really loosened up. And then on your next inhale, start to come forward, coming up into your forward fold, and exhale as you come down. Now, if you're stuck right now where you can't quite touch the ground, stay exactly where you are. But if you can touch the ground and you're looking for a little bit deeper, you can go ahead and bring those the first two fingers and wrap it around your big toe. And then you can slowly start to bring yourself and pull yourself deeper into this stretch. And we're just going to hold this for a few breaths, Give those muscles in the backs of our legs a chance to loosen up. Giving your head a shake no. And then yes, get that neck all nice and loosened up. And then releasing, and inhale as you slowly round your spine and come to standing, bringing those hands up above your head. And then exhale down to heart center. Running it one more time. A little bit faster pace this time. Inhale as you bring those arms up. Exhale, coming down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, coming back to that plank position. Exhaling as you come down, chaturanga. Inhale, lifting up, baby cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, coming up towards your forward fold. Exhaling as you come down into it. And inhale as you bring those hands up. And exhale down to heart center. So from here, I want to take you guys into a high lunge. It's not going to be a very active one. If you need to drop your knee down into a low lunge, you are more than welcome to do that if this is too much. But I want to kind of get into that psoas muscle and start by warming that up. So starting with our left leg, stepping it all the way back, keeping those hips squared in front of you. You can keep your hands on your knee. You can put them on your hips. Or if you'd like to get more of an upper body stretch into this, you can bring them up and back into cactus arms. Making sure that you're tilting that your hips forward, your pelvis forward, not allowing it to come back, because then you're not going to get that stretch in the left side and into your psoas muscle. So making sure that you're tilting those hips forward, leaning back just a little bit, whether you're doing cactus arms or not, and then sinking down as low as you can. If this is too much, again, please drop that left knee down to the mat, and you can still get the same effect so long as you are tilting that pelvis forward. Taking some nice deep breaths here. One more nice big breath in. And exhale, coming back up to the front of your mat. Shaking those legs out, and we're going to move to the other side. So taking that right foot all the way back, coming down into that high lunge. Again, if this is too much, bringing your knee down to the floor. Tilting that pelvis forward and placing your hands wherever feels good for you. Really start getting into those hips, the front of our hips, especially because we spend a lot of time curled up in balls, just sitting because we're in too much pain to move. And those muscles in the front are shortening. So it's a lot harder for us to be able to get up and enjoy moving around because we're very tight and sore. One more nice deep breath in here. And exhale, bring it back up to standing. So from here, I want to take a wide-legged forward fold. Bringing those legs out as wide as you can and just slightly bringing those big toes in towards each other. You're not looking to go anything crazy like this. Just nice and a little bit, just enough. Hands on hips, making sure that you keep your back straight and you're bending from your hips, not your low back. And then hinge forward nice and slowly. As you exhale, coming down. Again, this might be where you might need to utilize those blocks if you can't quite make it down far enough. By bringing those toes inwards, you're going to actually get a better stretch on these kind of side of your leg, where it can be a little bit difficult to stretch, but still needs it just as equally. And slowly, just keep letting yourself come a little bit closer towards the floor, allowing things to just release. Every time you feel a little bit of a release from your muscles, just allow yourself to come in just a wee bit deeper. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. Wherever you're at is perfectly fine. One thing that I do like to say over and over again is that we cannot compare ourselves to someone else. Whether that is yoga, whether that is their endo journey, no matter what it is, you cannot compare yourself to someone else because you don't know what they've done to get to where they are. You don't know the things they've been through, and you don't know, if things are really as good as that they look on the outside. So ensuring that you are only judging yourself based off, am I trying to get a little bit deeper than last time? Did I do a little bit better than last time? Did I make one more healthy decision than yesterday? You know, that's all that matters at the end of the day. All right, and then slowly bringing yourself back up, gently coming out of this, hands on hips, and then just using that abdominal strength to slowly bring yourself back up. Heel toe those feet in, and from here, we're actually going to take it down to the mat. So we're going to start by stretching the outsides of the hips. So bringing that left leg, crossing it over that right one, and then bringing that right foot in as close to your bum as possible. Now, not everybody can get this deep into it. If you're like my husband, right here is totally fine, right? It's not about what other people are doing. It's about how deep you can get into it and what feels good, because you don't want to push yourself to a point where it hurts. You don't want to push yourself to a point where maybe you're overstretching and you could cause injury. We're just gently stretching, and eventually you'll be able to get there deeper. Making sure that your back is straight. Don't hunch into this, because then you're not getting that same stretch. Making sure your back is nice and stiff. Using your hands to support you. You can wiggle your legs back and forth just gently. Help start loosening everything up. Awesome. And then just go ahead and slowly release that one. And we're just going to switch sides. So bringing that right knee or right ankle over the left knee. And same thing, coming in as close as you can where you do feel a really good stretch. There's no pain, maybe some discomfort, but never pain. Finding some movement if that feels good for you. And those hips warmed up. A couple more deep breaths here. All right, and go ahead and gently release. Bringing both your legs out directly in front of you. And this is where you can utilize your rope, your string, your whatever it is. I want you to go ahead and put that around your feet, both feet. And we're going to use this to get deeper into a forward fold. So while it's always good to not push yourself too hard, this is also really nice to keep those legs straight and be able to kind of pull yourself deeper into it. So I don't want you guys rounding your spine, and I don't want you pulling so hard that you injure yourself or cause any pain. Keeping that back nice and straight and just slowly bringing yourself down. Making sure that you're bending from those hips first before anything else moves. And again, right here, I'm not pulling that hard. Like, I don't have a lot of tension happening. It's just enough that I can keep my legs straight and just slowly bring myself down into it. And if you're way past this level and you're super flexible and you don't need it, you don't have to. You can go ahead and just grab onto the feet. Just keeping that spine straight. We're not rounding out this time. We're not folding into it. I really want to get the backs of those legs stretched as much as possible. A few more deep breaths here. Coming deeper with each breath if you can. So I'm going to go ahead and just gently release. Slowly bring yourself back up. We're going to come into a butterfly pose. So getting into a seated position, feet touching, bringing your heels as close to your pelvic bone as possible, and then using your elbows to push those knees out just a little bit farther. Slowly coming forward, feeling that stretch in the inner thighs and the groin area. Breathing into any discomfort that you're feeling. And every time you feel just a little bit of a release with those muscles, just allow yourself to come a wee bit deeper into it. Again, we're not trying to push ourselves into a flexible state that our bodies are not ready for. We're just trying to get those muscles unlocked, get them moving. All right, coming back up to sitting, and we're going to take those legs and open them as wide as possible. And same thing, we're just going to slowly bend forward. You're going to feel it kind of all throughout that inner thigh, down inner to back thigh. Depending on how deep you get into it, you could feel it all the way down into your calf area, or how tight you are. One side may feel tighter than the other, and that's normal as well. And I'd really like to encourage everyone to practice yoga every day. Yoga itself may not be your thing, and that's totally fine. But then at least doing some gentle stretching every single day, minimum 10 minutes at a time, preferably more like 20 minutes at a time, and a couple times a day, at least 2 times a day. If you can fit in more, that's even better. And one of the best things I think that you can do is to stretch first when you first wake up, because you've laid in bed all night, midday at some point, whether you have been home all day, curled up in bed in pain, or you've been out running around, your body still needs that stretch. And then again before you go to bed. 3 times a day is optimal. And I know some days it's not always going to be easy to get that, but as long as you're striving for it every day, and you say, today you did it 3 times, tomorrow you did it twice, the next day you did it 3 times, the next day you did it once, it's fine, because you're still doing it. You're still giving your body that chance to release the stress that your body's been holding on to for years and years and years. The stress of our everyday lives, the stress of living with this disease, the stress of constant inflammation in our bodies. Like, you have to be proactive about it. And this has been one of the most amazing things that I have found for it. And then when I do take care of my body regularly, and I'm doing yoga and I'm stretching, it also allows my exercises to be much easier to get into and less pain afterwards. So coming back up to sitting, bringing those legs back out in front of you. And we're just going to take a gentle spinal twist. So bringing that left knee up into your chest. You can stay here, or you can bring that left foot over top of your right leg, keeping that right foot bent, and then slowly either hugging that left knee and coming around, or you can bring that arm over to give yourself a bit extra of a push. Whichever route you're taking, again, you're not in this one, you're not bending from or twisting from the hips, you're twisting from the mid-spine. Your hips need to stay straight forward, and you're never over twisting yourself. So if there is any pain, please back off. Your head is the last thing to come around as well, just to get a little bit of an extra stretch in there. A few more deep breaths. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release, and we're going to switch sides. So bringing that right knee in this time, and again, if you want, you can cross that over, get a bit deeper into that hip area, and then taking the variation that feels good for you and twisting it around. Keeping that spine straight, you're not hunched over in this. Taking nice deep belly breaths, promoting that detoxification as you're in a twist. And then gently releasing. Okay, so from here we're going to go into our psoas stretch. So here, this is the one where we put the foot beside our hip. You can do one at a time, or you can choose to do both at a time. If you are feeling a little bit more flexible, if you've been practicing this for a while, you can absolutely give this a go. This is where you're going to utilize your blocks and stuff again, if you can't quite get all the way down. And if you're doing one leg, I will instruct you halfway through to switch legs so that you don't have to think about it. I'm going to go ahead and do both at the same time. So if you're doing both, just note that you're going to be holding this for as long as it would take to do each side. So making sure that your knees stay touching the ground as you come back, and you're going nice and slow. You don't want to rush into this, especially if you're doing both legs. It can get quite tight. And I haven't done this one in a while, so I may not be able to get all the way down. And it's totally normal to have an arch in that low back, even if you make it all the way down. Just breathing. Feeling that stretch in the tops of your legs, going up into that psoas muscle. Breathing. More deep breaths here. If you've made it all the way down to the ground and you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can always go ahead and put those arms above your head. Stretch out the abdomen a wee bit more. And if you are doing the single leg, now is the time that you're going to switch sides. We're about halfway through, and we can then come out of it in a few more minutes, a few more breaths. Breathing here. Feeling those muscles release. And if this is too much for you, you do not have to do it. This is definitely a routine that you're going to want to do when you're having a better day, not when you're having a super painful day. The other more gentle ones that I've put out so far are really good for if you're just not quite feeling it, if you're in pain, if you're really tired, a little bit less active. And it's just about stretching, not getting deeply into things. They're kind of more beginner. All right, and then wherever you're at, just very slowly and gently coming out of it. You don't want to rush this because you can injure your low back, especially if you're in it fully with both legs and you're all the way down to the ground. You can injure that low back. And from here, we're just going to take a child's pose, keeping those knees together, touching, and you're going to just fold over. You can have your hands out long, or you can kind of just bring them back beside you. We just want to round the spine the opposite direction to give it a chance to decompress from that last pose, because that can be quite strenuous on the low back. And then go ahead and come up, and we are going to take a puppy dog pose. So if you've never done this before, it is very much similar to child's pose, except that your hips are up in the air directly above your knees. So it's giving you more of a full body front stretch, as well as kind of like the backs of our shoulders. So coming into tabletop, your knees are hip distance apart, and just making sure that you're as lined up as possible, and you're just kind of staying there, bringing those hands out in front of you, and then bringing your head down to rest on the floor, allowing that chest to come down as well. And then if you want to take it a little bit farther, if this quite isn't enough of a stretch for you, you can go ahead and put your chin on the floor instead. And if you can't quite make it all the way to the floor, that's okay as well. As long as you're feeling the stretch, it's all that matters. Couple more breaths here. And then gently bring yourself back up to tabletop. And we are going to take a thread the needle to get into the backs of those shoulders a little bit more. So starting with your right hand, inhales, you bring it up above you, and then exhales, you thread it through and come to lie on that shoulder. I personally like to keep my supporting hand right around my face. I find it gives me a bit better of a twist. I feel it more of a stretch into my backs of my shoulder blades where I want the stretch, but some people also like to put their arms straight out in front of them. Or to get a bit deeper into it, you can bring that top arm around and hook it onto the inside of your thigh. Any of those works. Just getting to where is comfortable for you. Breathing. Go ahead and release that, and we're going to take the other side. Coming back to neutral, bringing that left arm up, and exhale as you thread it through. Same thing, taking the position that feels good for you. And just staying there. Feeling that stretch. Couple more breaths here. And then go ahead and release. And then we're just going to come back onto our backs. Take one more quick, gentle spinal twist. Bringing that right knee into your chest, left leg extends out long. And then bringing that across your body, coming into your twist. Back to center, and we're just going to switch sides. Left knee in, right leg long, and then bringing it across into that twist. Breathing here. Awesome. Bringing it back to center, hugging those knees into your chest one last time. And then go ahead and releasing into Shavasana. Legs out long and wide. Hands are just beside you. Just getting your body comfortable. And just taking a moment here. I want you to Give thanks to your body, appreciation to your body for all that it does for you. It's so easy for us to hate our bodies, to despise them, to wish we had a different one because of this disease of living with endo. But the thing is that our body is constantly fighting for us to get better. Every single day it's working really hard to heal as much as it can. And with this disease, it can never heal. And so we're exhausted all the time because our body just never gets a break and it never gets to stop trying to heal. And when we nourish it and when we take care of it and we give it love and gratitude and stretching and all of the things and exercise, it gives it what it needs to be able to keep fighting and keep going. And it also gives us what we need to keep fighting and keep going. And so just taking a moment to really appreciate how hard your body works for you. Sending all your love to every part of your body. Encouraging it to keep going, keep fighting, and to encourage yourself to make the changes necessary so your body doesn't have to keep fighting every single day. It's such a complicated disease, yet it's so simple what we have to do to find relief from it. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's hard mentally to make changes and do things differently than we've done them our entire lives, than we've been taught to do them. And majority of your healing from endometriosis is a mental game. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and just start wiggling your fingers and your toes, taking that time, getting a full body stretch in there if you can. And then when you're ready, just rolling over onto your side, meeting me back in a seated position on your mat. Just taking that moment to just feel any differences in your body. Does anything feel different? Does it feel better? Is there anywhere that you notice that maybe needs a bit of extra love or an extra stretch? I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Please remember to stay hydrated, to do some more stretching later on if this is the beginning or the middle of your day, and to start making those changes in your diet, adding in those anti-inflammatory foods, cutting out one or two things that are trigger foods for you, and just keep fighting every single day. Have a wonderful rest of your day.